Meet Baba, the fake Labubu, also known as a Lafufu. Her birthday is July 12, which makes her a Cancer if you believe in zodiacs. Her personality is gentle, nurturing, and quietly magical. Some of her favorite things to do? Making nests out of blankets and feeding cookies to imaginary friends. She also has a secret talent, and she can tell exactly how you're feeling but just looking into your eyes. Also, 10 on 10 as a snuggler. Rumor has it, she gives the best hugs. So the question is, can we sculpt this character and do her justice? Now, I want to try and sculpt this out of ceramics, which means this is actually going to be a sculpture that's kind of glass-like. And in case you didn't know, Labubus have been the ultimate sensation! Where so many people have become so obsessed unboxing these creatures that look kind of like a gremlin, but is actually a sweet character. And we've even unboxed some myself, so if you want to check out that video, definitely do. But if you also want to see me make ceramics for the first time, I will link that as well down below. Now, as cute as this character is, we're going to be monsterifying the monster just a little bit more. Because I want to take heavy inspiration from the packaging that some of these mystery characters come in, such as this look over here. So today we're going to be turning a cheap $5 Lafufu into a potentially $1,000 sculpture because yes, we're going to be using real gold. Let me know in the comments if you've gone into the Labubu craze or you have other collectibles that you prefer. With that said, let's get started. Now on this channel, we do not gatekeep, so I will tell you all the materials that I'm using. Starting with the clay that I'm using is the brand called Plainsman, and the type number is the M340. And the only reason I'm using this clay is because I called the actual makers and I said, hey, I need something smooth, durable, and if I wanted to make cups and plates, it can also be used for that in addition to sculpting. And they're like, we got you, you're going to use this one. Now what I love about these clays, let me just get a little nerdy here, is if I wanted 20 kilos of polymer clay, it would cost me over $1,000. Whereas 20 kilos of this kind of clay is about $40. You're basically joining me on my entire journey of learning how to do all these different kinds of sculpts. So let's go ahead and take out the piece of clay that we want. Look how smooth this is. Polymer clay started giving me arthritic pain, so this is smooth. I like it. So we're going to just take this wire thingy. Oh my goodness. Yes. Look at that. Soft and easy on the fingers. All right, we're gonna put you away. Might be easy on the fingers, but you're gonna get some biceps. All right, so first thing I want to do is create the circle and oval because since we're working from this reference picture for a Labubu in general, or a Lafufu, I really love this design just because it has that monster type look where the head is absolutely large and the body is kind of like a peanut. And I have molds in order to try and make the body hollow. So this is a completely new technique for me, which I'm not sure if I'm gonna succeed, but we're making mistakes together. And in addition to that, we do have the Wheel of Chaos that I asked you grains to help me fill out. So we have some extra elements of surprise that I have to sculpt into the sculpture. And we're gonna take a look at that more closely later. All right, so let's see how we can roll this out until we get something a little bit more flat. All right, so here is my piece of clay. It is smooth, and all I can think while I was rolling is, okay, smooth operator, smooth operator. And luckily, I have a brother that likes to 3D print, so when I sent him this mold to make semi-domes and circles, he's like, I got you. So I just put a rubber band here, and we're gonna try and fix a circle here so that we can make things happen. I don't know if this is the right size of cutter. Not sure. Like technically need two of these, so I'm gonna try and get as close. I'm gonna edge this here as close as possible to make it happen. All right, we're gonna cut it. Okay, here we go. Here's our circle. And I'm really hoping this is going to fit in here. Is it, are you good? Maybe it's too big. Oh, that tore. That is not, no! Okay, I'm gonna start that over. At least what I know is I did have enough space for two. So let's try that again, like so. Now the question is, how do I get you in here? How do I do that? Maybe I need a smaller piece. Okay, let's just go smaller. It's not exact here. Oh gosh.
But what the hell, boy?
I make soicles. Please, definitely still too big. I'm just gonna, you know what? We're gonna put it in there and I'm just gonna push it in. I am expert at clay stuff. For those of you new here, I am not new to sculpting, but I am new to ceramics. So any advice, definitely leave them in the comment section. No, I made a mistake. No, no. Clay sticks to plastic. No, no. Oh, that wasn't too bad. All right, so what we're going to do is actually take some saran wrap paper because clay will not stick to that. And we're gonna put it in our mold, like so. And we're just gonna make sure that it's actually in there. That's all we're doing. Okay, we know that this is too big, so I'm gonna go with about half, maybe, something like that. Voila. I'm getting better at soicles. Voila. And this is where I'm just going to kind of crunch it up. And what we want to do is not have the clay tear up. Just going to shove it like inside. And I'm just going to kind of use my fingers. I know it's not going to be even, but it's going to give us a good working point, I'm hoping. I am working on hope. Have you ever done that? Have you ever crafted based on purely on hope? And so now that I did one, I think I had a better feel in order to get the second demi-circle done. So I went ahead and did that and just cut off a little bit of the trim, not for any other reason. I will definitely have to fix that much later. But now we have to work on the body. So I took my 2 ovals and I've wrapped these up in saran wrap as well. We have our piece nice and flat. And I've been seeing a lot of people use this tool. Ooh. I was like, how do they get this smooth? Oh, excuse yourself. That is working oh my goodness. That is definitely smoothing things out. I like. Let's see the other side. Other side is already smooth. Oh, you know what? We're gonna smooth it a little more because we can. Okay, that looks good. And I feel like for this one, I could just drape it on top like so and just gently cup it. Gentle. We're gonna give it a lot of space, wrap it around. Look at that. So far, so good. It might be a little thin at the bottom, but that's okay. Nothing we can't bulk it up with. And now we're going to cut up a lot of the excess, like so. Voila. Now let's see what that actually looks like. I'm gonna flip you. Very nice. And I'm just gonna pinch this back up. There. I'd rather have more than not enough. And I'm gonna let this sit on the side for a few minutes. And of course we need 2, so I went ahead and did exactly the same thing on the second one. Whether it's the right technique or not, I'm just playing at this point.
A few moments later.
All right, so it's been a few minutes, about maybe 20-ish minutes. Maybe I need to wait longer, but we're gonna go ahead and take it out of the, oh, okay. It just slipped right out. That is perfect. And it looks like we have something that is kind of like an ice cream cone. I think so far so good, not bad. So let's put that here. And now our second piece, again, came right out. These molds are absolutely phenomenal. If you have a 3D printer, I'll link it down below. They were free, so just saying. So now the trick is to get these 2 halves for the head, right? How do I do that?
A few minutes later.
All right, for the next part, I'm going to take the ovals to make the body first. So we're basically just going to put these together. And since I left so much of the excess over there, by the way, I made this a little smaller. Initially, this is the size that I had used, and I decided to go with something a little smaller because in the reference picture, as you can see on screen here, the head is larger than the body. But when I used this one, the body was bigger than the head. So I needed to go a little smaller to get that cuteness effect. And off we go to putting the 2 pieces together. I ended up using some slip, but that's too watery. That's way too liquidy. I did not expect it to be this liquidy. So we're just going to dab it here, dip it a little bit everywhere. And I feel like this piece was just caving in. I probably didn't let it dry enough. So I decided to take my cutter and cut a little piece from the bottoms just so I can put my fingers to have a little bit more support on the inside. And I've spent so much time just trying to smooth this piece to get it just right. It's still a little wobbly, but I'm gonna let it dry a little bit more just that it holds itself better. And we're gonna try and smooth it as we get to where we need to go. And basically, I'm doing the exact same thing for the head, except the head had a lot more time to dry up. And now the head just needs to be a little bit more oval, so I smushed it a little bit and some cracks appeared, and that's okay. We can constantly smooth things. I feel like that's why I like sculpting, because it's pretty forgiving, whereas drawing for me is a little bit more nerve-wracking. To be very honest though, this is a still new piece of art for me to learn, so I am a little nervous, and I think it's okay for everyone to feel a little nervous on something that they're starting new. Just go ahead and enjoy it. If it brings you joy, just do it! Don't worry about messing up, because we all do it! And now we need to attach the head to the body. So I did keep the bottom part of the head intact, and I want it to be here. My biggest fear at this point is that it's not dry enough, so pieces might collapse at some point. I'm hoping that is not the case. So we're gonna go ahead and score where the head would go on the neck area. We're gonna score a lot. So if you want your pieces to stick together, you have to score. It's kind of causing that kind of suction. Otherwise, they gon' just fall off, and that's not what we want, because these sculptures take us days to put together. Weeks, actually. Okay, here we go. And this slip is basically just watered down clay, and it's way too watery. So we're gonna put it on both sides, like so. And tap it, 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 tap it. And now we're gonna shove it together. Am I nervous? Yes, a lot. Okay, so we have the pieces here. I am definitely going to try and push. Gosh, I'm so worried. Okay, we're gonna do it like that. Please, please stay. And just to try and reinforce the piece, I'm going to do a snake of clay, roll it, add more of that slip, and then shove it right under the neck and smooth that part out. And now we're adding the coil around the neck. It's kind of like a turtleneck. I don't know about you, but turtlenecks, they choke me. I feel like it's too much cloth up my neck. And basically this process is about smoothing. Again, it's all about smoothing. I'm using two different tools. The first one is the silicone pointy kind of tool, and then the second one is kind of like a spoon where I'm using the backside of it. And at this point, I think we're doing really well. This is what it looks like. I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. There will be little spots that show up, but that's okay. We can always smooth it away. I don't want to rush it. I feel like if I start adding too much detail as it's soft, it's just going to collapse and we're going to ruin it. So what I'm doing right now is just flattening a piece of the clay and then putting it at the bottom. I don't want the bottom to be just open, so we're going to put a piece of clay right under there. That way it's a little bit more stable, unlike my own life and mental health. But you know what? I have Kitty Editor. Kitty Editor, you bring joy to my life. I love you. And you know what? The grains, they love you too. Once everything is scored and smoothed out, I went ahead and did a tiny hole.
Bruh.
Now, technically we don't need to have any venting holes. Apparently that's a myth, but I did one anyways. But wait, I am interrupting this program for, you know what time it is?
We've got laughs, we've got a dream. We'll be back after this meme. Oh, yeah, it's meme o'clock. Spinning fun around the clock. Catch your breath, it's quite the theme. We'll be back after this meme.
This meme comes to us by Jungle Pups, who is claiming, you'll see right here,
I have the one and only 24 karat gold Labubu. Now, this is real 24 karat gold, made in the form of a Labubu. Now, he weighs 200 grams.
That is false. I'm gonna let y'all read the comments. We have me lying for no reason in 4th grade, and then we have Labubu. And then people are like, 24K gold isn't even that color. And she claims that it is $21,000. That's crazy. But you know how it gets crazier. This is the internet.
24 karat golden Labubu?
Yes, it is I, 24 karat golden Labubu, the only one in the world. I cost 200,000 pounds to make. As you can see, full body.
Oh my
200,000 pounds. Only one in the world. I weigh 200 grams. Full solid gold Labubu.
Y'all on the internet, I love you. Back to our regular programming. Are you tired of trying to think of what's for dinner? What should I make? Should I eat out? Can I make something healthy? All these questions might make you want to go, ah. If any of these questions are preoccupying your mind every day, then I have the perfect sponsor for you, which is Factor. For those of you who don't know Factor, they make meeting your nutritional goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved meals straight to your doorstep. And I can't say enough from personal experience how much I absolutely adore Factor, simply because it tastes good, it's convenient, and it helps me on days where I'm not feeling my best. Let's make something. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals in between 2 to 3 minutes are absolutely phenomenal, and you have so many choices every week. Let's start with the rice. If you love stir-fried rice, this is it. The edamame. Tastes like edamame. Chicken. Sauce. Moist and peanutty. With 35 options to choose from in categories like Protein Plus, Keto, Vegan, Vegetarian, and that's not all. They have 60 add-ons that you can choose from as well, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, and even beverages to keep you strong and fueled throughout the day. And Factor is not only absolutely delicious and have great options, but they also help you save time. Skip the meal prep, skip going to the grocery store, and skip the wastage. And Factor is extremely flexible because if you still have your meals and you want to skip a week, you have that option, and they make it really easy from their app. So what are you waiting for? Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use the code 50NerdyCrafter to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50NerdyCrafter at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. And of course, conveniently for you, there is a QR code for you to scan. A huge thank you to Factor for making my life easier on days that is harder for me and making absolutely delicious meals that I adore. And of course, sponsoring a portion of today's video. All right, so we are at a point now where we need to know what details this Labubu is going to have. I am hoping, really hoping, that we don't get some of the stuff on there. But here are the options. So we have extra limbs, roll 2 of them, a buddy, which means I would actually create a miniature plushie for it to hold, wings, decals, which is going to be during the painting process, scales, roll dice for extra teeth. I really don't want this. I really don't want this. Horns, an extra eye, and super peach. If you don't know what a peach is, we're just gonna add extra peach, or as some of y'all may call it, cake in the back. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel. And we are getting, oh, a super peach. Okay, all right. We are adding a nice buttocks. I'm not mad about it. I am not mad about this. For a super peach to be a super peach, we're going to take 2 sizable circles in this case, and we're going to want to make sure that they stay together. So of course we have to score them both like so. I'm actually really happy we got this one. This is my favorite. And we're gonna add some slip and here as well. And we're gonna squeeze like so. Look at that. That's the perfect suction right there. And because we want this line to actually be visible, I'm gonna just put this here, take our little sponge and smooth it in. This looks absolutely chef's kiss on that one. Now we do need to put it on the sculpture, so I can't have this part to be too bulgy. So we're gonna cut a part that's flat, voila. And we're gonna take the back of our Labubu, oh my goodness, and oh my gosh, we're gonna fit it right here. Now with the magic of editing and speed up process, all I'm really doing is taking some clay, scoring it, adding, bulking it up to make sure that it looks like it's always belonged there. And ta-da!
Wait a minute!
Here's what it looks like in the back. So now it's pretty much straightforward for the limbs. I'm going to roll out pieces of clay, attach them for the legs just to kind of stabilize everything at the bottom since we have something destabilizing the back part. So here are the 2 feet. Now we're going to go ahead and do the arms. I was thinking of doing a crazy pose, but you know what? I kind of just want it to just sit there and have the arms just kind of in a very natural pose. So the process is basically the same. We're just doing legs and arms. You know what's one of the worst things about me is I'm like, I'm gonna keep the pose simple. But then I remembered that I think with this kind of clay, things that don't have necessarily armature like this can actually just melt and break. I'm not gonna risk it. So we're gonna remove it and re-add a different arm in the, well, same pose as the other one. We are not taking any risky piskies. We're gonna try and keep things as doable as possible for a beginner like me. And here's what we have so far. The next step is going to be doing the face and the ears. Now that's going to take me quite a bit of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz this, cover it up, and leave it for a few days just because I want to work on it in a few days. That's just the process of sculpting. Okay, you don't have to do everything in one sitting. But here's a 360 of what we have so far, and I have to say this extra peach feels a little extra. But what do you want? That's what we rolled on the Wheel of Chaos. Okay, here we are the next day. I haven't unwrapped it yet, so let's hope nothing collapsed. Let's see what we got. Oh, that is glorious. Oh my goodness. So far, at least from my angle. Actually, do you want to see my angle? This is this is my angle. This over here is my angle. Okay? What did we do? What did we do? See, I knew giving y'all power for the Wheel of Chaos was dangerous. But you know what? We gotta move on. I gotta give the people what they want. All right, so I'm hoping I can move this onto the turntable. It's technically very fragile at this time, so we're gonna do this. Oh, okay. That moved really well. So far, so good. And we're going to get rid of this plastic. But one of the things I also wanted to do was fix this. So I'm not going to change the slip here because it's really, really thin and I needed something a little thicker. So what I did is, as you can see over here, I took a piece of clay yesterday, rolled it out really thin so that it becomes basically easy to break. And in order to make our own clay glue, we're just going to break this into little pieces, like so. And we're just gonna add some water, let that absorb in there. And then we're just gonna mash it up with a popsicle stick, swirl it around until it becomes a slurry. And that's basically how you're creating your own glue out of your clay. So now at this point, the sculpture is pretty firm. It's not wobbly, and I feel like I could still make indents. I'm just gonna, yeah, you could still make indents. I feel like I could still sculpt on this. Can I smooth it out proper? Yeah, I can smooth it out. If we use a little bit of the wet sponge, we can definitely smooth it out. It is hollow on the inside, but it's holding itself pretty good. Now what we're gonna do is the face. Now what I decided to do in order to stop intimidating myself is to sketch out where the facial features were and where I needed to actually add some bulk, because I could technically just make this a flat-faced character, but I tried to challenge myself and see, can I add details? I don't know how this clay is going to behave, so I'm really curious what hand building with earth clay actually looks like. Can I add details? Will they fall off? I don't know. And then I started putting my slip. Now, looks like a spa day. We're just gonna slap that on there. And it went from looking decent to looking like an absolutely nightmare fuel item. Labubu was like,
Do you love me? Tell me you love me. Yes, you love me.
and I flattened a piece of clay, scored it of course, and put it for where I think the shape of the nose or the muzzle should be. And it is a little sloppy, but that's okay because this is clay. We can carve off the pieces we don't actually want. All I'm doing right now is focusing on the bulking, and I'll worry about the details as I need them. Now I'm aware that the eyes are the windows to your soul. So I took some extra time to actually go ahead, carve it, make sure that the eyes is the exact same ratio of distance. As we can see here, the eyes are pretty close to the mouth. And also the nose is basically in the middle, but also really close. So everything's kind of scrunched in between the actual smile. So we have to fit everything right in between there. And I love this carving tool because not only can I carve a little bit to add that dimension, but I can also add some fine details. Now this clay shrinks, I think 13 to 15%. So I don't know if the details I'm putting are going to disappear. I'm going to measure this to see how big it is at the end and then how much it shrinks after the first kiln hall baking. I'm just gonna call it baking, after the first bake. And here it is, so far looking absolutely mischievous, devilish, cute little Labubu Lafufu. One of the things that's missing is definitely the teeth, and we know that Labubus have 9 teeth. So I went ahead to try and draw it to make sure that I actually have the space for 9 teeth and that I don't make them too small. But of course I messed up, of course. So we gonna just erase that and start over until we get the proper spacing for 9 teeth. Clearly this is nightmare fuel. So I think my biggest mistake is that I thought I could make a line and then just color it in. But the problem is the mouth for Labubu is drawn in, as you can see here. So I technically don't need an indent. All I have to do is just add the little teeth. That's all I gotta do. And then color it in later on. So we're gonna start that mouth over. Just gonna pull some teeth out here. I'm so sorry. Oh wow, that is in there. Well, at least we know that my technique is working. So we're just gonna remove this stuff and start over. Yeah, that is sculpting, but you know what? That's okay, that's part of the process. All right, I sculpted this off camera, but I ended up putting a little line snake of clay on top of here just to kind of hide all the little seams of the teeth, and it looks phenomenal. It looks so good. I'm so proud of myself, I did so good. Now for the cute little ears, I went ahead and just flattened a piece of clay, not too flat, just to have it a little bit more rounded, and started carving it. Now the reason I wanted that piece to be a little bit more carved out, because if all goes well, this is where we're going to be adding our 24 karat gold. It's between 18 and 24 karat gold. I guess I'm not sure what it depends on, but here's what the listing looks like, and that's basically what the gold looks like. So now we're gonna go ahead, score the bottom of the ear, score where we want the ears to go, add some of that sludgy glue, and then put it together. Of course, I'm gonna go ahead and smooth out as much as I can, but here's what it looks like. Our little Labubu is looking absolutely adorable. I have no idea if this is going to survive drying time and baking time. So now we wait 2 weeks and then we can put it in the kiln. So let me show you what it looks like in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later. Ta-da! Here she is 2 weeks later, looking absolutely phenomenal. There were some cracks after a couple of days, but I just basically took my little gloop and splashed it on there to close the gaps. Is that gonna work? Not sure, but I'm learning here. And here's an absolutely amazing 360 of her on my little turntable. And I'm really excited to see how she's going to turn out, so we're going to shove her in the kiln. Obviously, this is a delicate process, so I'm going to do this with my entire focus, but here I am loading it up, and here's what she looks like in the kiln. But first, we must plead to the kiln gods. Dear kiln gods of Evermore, please protect my piece from cracks, explosions, and fallen limbs. But also,
Don't break my stuff! Me.
Jackie from the future here. By the way, you greens are absolutely hilarious with your naming for the kiln. The top two were Saltina and Bernadette. I have to say I am biased towards Bernadette, but y'all will get to vote in the community tab. I will link that in the description, or you just head to the community tab on YouTube and vote, because that will be the final name. I can't wait to see what y'all choose. Y'all saw her straight from the kiln. She is looking absolutely incredible. No cracks. I did knock her ear on the shelf and it didn't break, so we good. Here's a 360 of her. I keep forgetting that we all collectively decided that it would be a great idea to have peaches on the Wheel of Chaos, but here we are, all voluptuous and juicy. And let's hear that dinging sound. Yep, definitely turning into glass. All right, so bear with me, Labubu, you will sit over there. But now we gotta talk about painting it or underglazing it. And for that, decals. Hear me out. When I think expensive piece of ceramics, usually my mind goes a little bit on the vintage side. And since we are going with 24 karat gold, which I will show you grains later, which is extremely toxic and we need to wear protective gear. The first thing that really comes to mind are expensive, vintage, and blue types of ceramics that you can find at a porcelain store or even in a royal collection, okay? We're thinking royalty here, look at this palace, and you got a Labubu sitting right there. And so I want to show you grains my collection of underglaze decals. I've never used these before, so I've never used 24 karat gold liquid. I've never used decals. This is going to be an adventure for us together, okay? We're experimenting all the way here. And the decal options I have are quite a few, starting off with strawberries. That is cute, but it's not giving expensive. It's giving cute. This is adorable. Again, it does have that blue look to it. However, colors. And I feel like colors in certain aspects can be cute, but in other parts could be tacky, especially if we're going to put gold in there. And then mushrooms. So listen, hear me out. Labubu, the actual lore, is a forest type character, okay? She lives in the woods. I feel like we could potentially add some mushrooms. Will it be all mushrooms? No, but I feel like we can add some of those custom mushroom pieces here and there. So we're gonna put this aside and we're gonna look at the vintage looking ones. And I have two contenders that I think is going to be a good fit, but I'm always curious what you think. Let me know in the comments which ones you would have used out of the entire ones that I show you. So starting off here, I don't even know what's going on. It's just, I ordered it. I thought it looked cute online, but it just looks like a mess. So we're not going with that. And then this one is the biggest contender because it has these different flowers in different shapes. So I think this is a very strong potential to add. So we're gonna put this aside with the mushrooms. And this one reminds me of a tattoo. So I don't think we're going to be using any of these. So we do have some really solid options from the ones that I just showed you. As you can see them here on the screen, I think we're going to do well with just these. Now, because this thing is getting a vintage look, we are going with a white base. So I am using this underglaze, which basically is paint for ceramics. So we're just going to be using this. Shake, 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 shake. And the rest is just basically me putting 3 white coats of underglaze. It's really nothing that exciting or interesting. You're just watching me do multiple coats, letting them dry, and then putting the next one on. It's as simple as that. All right, I have my glasses on, which means you know stuff is getting serious. So we're gonna do a little test before we move on because I have no idea how these things apply. And I'm really hoping this goes on bisque fired, which means clay that's already been fired the first time. So let's see. This is a really cute mushroom over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out. Okay, we're gonna cut as close as possible. I need smaller scissors in here. There's our piece. All right, so let's go ahead and place the mushroom over here. And according to tutorials online, I have to put it right there. Well, not right there. They didn't say put it in a booty. They just said put it there. I'm so nervous. I am so nervous. And then we have a damp sponge. So we're gonna go ahead, dampen it up. I'm gonna do this, make sure that all the edges are done. It looks pretty good. So far, so good. Okay, and then they said to take a rubber tool and kind of, oh boy, the color's coming off. What am I doing? Am I doing it wrong? Do I just peel it off? And let's see, oh! Yes! Hey! We got it! Look at that! Oh, that's perfect. Okay. We are equipped now, kind of. I'm gonna let it dry, but I'm just kind of holding it in my hands. We did it! Our first transfer! Okay, no need to use the rubber. I think just a little bit of dampness worked perfectly. At this point, this part is very time consuming because I'm cross-referencing all the different pictures, trying to see how I can get a design that is more or less symmetrical. Not perfectly symmetrical, but just the bigger designs as much as possible. It took me 2 hours, okay? 2 hours. And this is the design I mapped out for the body. Let's go ahead and give it a go. So wait a darn minute. So it turns out this decal is different from the mushroom. The mushrooms I got from AliExpress. These ones I got from Temu. And I just learned what the technique is. I actually have to wet the surface first. So I'm gonna go ahead, clean all of this up, put 3 more coats of white, wait for them to dry, and do this again. And this is going to be the challenge. This is going to be the challenge because I have to touch it without, I have to place it without touching. Oh, I already got blue here. I am big, I am brave. I am big, I am brave. I am big, I am brave. I'm gonna start from, oh gosh, oh please. I'm gonna start here, not the hand. No, don't you go on the hand. Okay, well, we're gonna work our way. Please, under. Nice and easy. And we're going tappa, 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 tappa. Okay, let's test it. It worked on the other ones. There's no reason for it to not work here. All right, let's test you out. No. No, please. Why? And it's clearly wet. No. Is it because it's glazed? I think it's because it's underglaze. I think it's because I painted it. Okay, I'm gonna have to try a different technique. All right, so I've repainted 3 more coats of underglaze, and if this time it does not work, I promise you I am going in manually. I know it's going to be faster at this point, but I really wanted to try those decals because I still want it to look vintage. So even if 95% of it transferred, that's the look I'm going for. And every time I'm trying it on test tiles, it's working. This is glazed. It worked. Yes, there's some residue of blue. That's okay, we can touch that up, but it worked. Is it working? Don't do this to me. So what I did to get this to work is I spritzed this first. We're gonna do that. This is the last straw at this point. Let's go ahead and spritz the entire body. I'm just gonna spritz it so everything is wet, and we're gonna go ahead and place this right on top, like so.
A few moments later.
Moment of truth. Please, 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 please. Okay. Not even a little bit.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no.
I just want to see it working at this point because I feel like I'm gaslighting myself. There, tappa, tappa, tappa. I just want to see it work. Now I'm just going to remove it. Oh, hey, yes. Okay. This is the look I'm going for. Okay, we need to activate it and just do it. Let's dry it up. This is it. That's what I'm going for. Okay, we learned our lesson. Extra water. Go slow. Smaller pieces. That's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing. Because at this point, I just want it to work. I am stubborn. I have hyper fixated on this and it's gotta work at this point.
Bruh. Bruh.
Off we go using the bottle tool looking thing in order to add the details. This isn't my first time using those little bottle things. I actually first time used it in my first time doing ceramics video. So if you do want to check that out, here's what the thumbnail looks like. I highly recommend you check it out. It is a really fun experimental video. And I tried to add as much detail as possible. Obviously, I couldn't go too thin with the nozzles because the underglaze was just kind of clogging it. So I couldn't make that cool tattoo looking effect. At least not just yet. If you have any tips or advice, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I went floral. I did little tulips and little flowers, and don't make fun of my flowers, that's just how I make them. And after the front was done, I decided to go ahead and do the back, and this is what the back looks like. Of course, we wanted that booty to be as ornate as possible. And then I took a darker blue, basically I just mixed in some black with my blue, and decided to do some very light shading. I have no idea what this is going to look like, so I'm crossing my fingers that this is actually going to look cool and accentuate some pieces as opposed to make it look tacky. We're not gonna know, okay? It barely shows. Here's a 360 of it. It's looking pretty cool. You can't really see the dark blue, so we're gonna find out after all of this. Now what's left to do is the details. For the eyes, of course I can go a little bit more extra on that, but I figured since this is still our inspiration picture, as you can see here, the eyes are very basic. It's just a circle with a little white dot on the inside. And since we're focusing on golds and blue and white, I'm not gonna do any other color other than the light blue that we initially started with. Well, the lighter of the darker blues. And last but not least, this part makes me very nervous, is we're going to do the black outline for the mouth right on top of the teeth because that's just necessary. Whether it's this drawing right here or a Labubu, Lafufu, it's basically outlined. So we do need to get a nice crisp line as best as my hands can go. So there it is. And here she is looking absolutely phenomenal. We cannot add the 24 karat gold just yet because we actually need to glaze it, which is a shiny coat right on top. So we're gonna put the shiny coat right on top. You're gonna see this fast forwarded because I put 3 coats, okay? It's gonna make it extra shiny. And now it looks like we did absolutely nothing to this. Trust me, we have to trust the process. We have to trust the process. It's like taking a dip in milk. And here she is 24 hours later. Now we're going to put it in the kiln for 8 hours, and then it's going to cool down for another 8 hours. So let's hope she turns out okay, which means we need to pray to the kiln gods. Dear kiln gods of Evermore, please protect my piece from cracks, fallen limbs, and explosions. But also, just give me something pretty. No, but stop it! Oh my gosh, I am in love. Look how vintage this piece looks. It truly does look like old school ceramics, and I am super excited to actually, let me sit down. Here's a close-up of what it looks like. You can really see the details come through, and I know the paint isn't perfect, but you know what? That adds to the idea that it is vintage. I probably couldn't have asked for a better work in terms of the painting working with me as opposed to against me. But it is not over. You know why? Absolutely toxic gold liquid. This is what we're doing. This is our 24 karat real gold that we're going to be adding to the sculpture. Now, just to be very clear, this is absolutely dangerous to manipulate. So for that case, they do request that you wear some kind of respiratory mask and gloves and use it in a well-ventilated area. So we're gonna head outside and do that. So we're all suited up. This is so weird. And let's go ahead and get this glaze. I can't talk too well in this. I don't know if you can hear me, but we have subtitles for you. So I'm gonna talk once, you're gonna hear a voiceover. I really can't say how nervous I am painting the gold on there. I did put a little bit of that gold in the cap and went as lightly as possible because that's what the instructions say. It says one thin coat. And this is probably one of the most toxic materials I ever had to take any kind of precautions for and wear the gloves and mask. But yeah, I went ahead and went inside the eyes and did the teeth. But guess who else is getting some gold on them? Yes, our cute little Frobert. And we're gonna see the results of both of them at the end. Here it is, looking great. Now it's time for the kiln. All right, this is the moment of truth. It is still 182 Fahrenheit in there, but I'm told online that I can do it. So, oh, so scared. I'm just gonna peek. Looks metallic. Oh, looks metallic. And me good. She is done fully in gold, actual gold. So this one depends on the range. It's between 18 and 23 karat gold. So I guess you just have to get it appraised, but holy carp, real gold on a sculpture for the first time for me. I absolutely love how everything turned out. The gold exceeded my expectations. I was really worried at that final stretch that I would end up failing, but all the pieces just look phenomenal together. It really does look like a vintage piece you would find in an antique store, and like, who's collecting this weirdness? And the answer is people like me, people like you. So after a month of working on this, I have to say that I am very happy with how it turned out, despite the fact that I am a beginner ceramist. Literally my second ever sculpture. Speaking of second ever sculptures, we have Frobert, who turned out absolutely phenomenal with the magma color on the body, the little flower details, but then the gold snaggletooth and the gold accents on the spikes. I do want to ask you, Grains, what happened here? For those of you who may know enough about ceramics and glazing, there's kind of a web-looking type pattern on the whole body. I don't mind it personally. I think it looks really cool because it adds to the texture of this character, but the Labubu doesn't have that texture on it. So I'm curious if you know what may have happened, because I like it. I would buy it exactly as it is. So I'm just curious what happened. But yeah, we just turned ceramic sculptures into gold pieces. Maybe a future video we should just do an entire body in gold. If you want to watch more crafty videos, make sure you check up here. If you want to catch something different like mystery boxes, make sure you check down here. Until then, I will see you, Grains, in the next video.